Hi, and welcome to the Baru. I'm Charlotte Bain. You know, one of the hardest parts of loving a dog is knowing we can't protect them from everything. At some point, every one of us has to make a decision about their health. And those decisions can be emotional, they can be stressful, and they can be financially overwhelming. When I started thinking about the human-animal bond, I realized that money is really a part of this conversation. The cost of veterinary care can affect the choices that we make for our animals, the stress that we carry, and even the guilt that we feel when our dogs need us the most. So today, one of the most sought after mobile veterinarians, Dr. Heather Oxford, she's also my friend, joins me co-hosting our conversation with Dr. Peter Weinstein. Dr. Peter Weinstein is a veterinarian, an MBA, a former practice owner, a consultant, and he's one of the most respected voices in veterinary economics in the country. We talk about why care costs what it does, how pet parents can prepare before an emergency happens, and how having these conversations early can help us focus on what matters, our dogs. So let's just jump into this chat. Thank you both for joining me, Dr. Heather. It's always nice to see you and have your opinions and your help on these podcasts.
Great to see you too, and thanks for inviting me along.
Of course. And Dr. Weinstein, so nice to have you and so nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for the invitation, and Dr. Heather, pleasure to be with you.
Same.
I just want to jump right in. I was listening to your podcast episode, Blunt Dissection, and you mentioned that trust is like the key word for 2026. And I think you were talking about kind of the disconnect between pet parents and veterinary medicine right now. And I'm wondering why you think that's happening at this moment in time.
I think, well, first of all, I believe trust, especially with healthcare providers, is
Yes.
exquisitely important. It is with any service industry, but more so when you're talking about with doctors. And I think the pandemic and the insanity that ensued in the 2 to 3 years after the pandemic, where many veterinary practices were super busy trying to meet the needs of the pet owners in a business model that isn't always that efficient. I think we had some trust issues that arose as a result of availability, difficulty getting in, and I'm sure Dr. Heather can vouch for that. Any of us who dealt with that period of time between March 2020 and probably 2022 or 23 realized that we were on roller skates.
Yeah.
And so, and concurrent with that, we saw some increasing cost of care that was going on. So we had challenges of availability, and we had increasing cost of care. And I think both of those started to put up, I would say, barriers or maybe fences between consumers and the veterinary profession that had not existed before. I think in many cases, the veterinary profession was second only to nurses when it came down to being trusted. And so that's where I think that came from.
Yeah. So why do you think that you mentioned since the pandemic, the cost of veterinary care has essentially been skyrocketing? Why do you think that is? Was it because of the pandemic or?
Well, let's just say that not only veterinary medicine costs have skyrocketed, but try to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Try to book a hotel or a flight. I think virtually all people-based industries have seen escalating costs because the cost of people has gotten more expensive. Right. Why has the cost of people gotten more expensive? Because the cost of everything else has gotten more expensive. Remember $8 eggs?
Yep.
For those of us in California, almost $7
Barely.
gasoline.
I can barely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've seen a lot of escalation around us.
Yeah.
And veterinary medicine has gone up probably higher maybe than some of the other inflationary areas around us because we have people costs that went up, which is cost of staff,
Yeah.
cost of doctors, and then finally the cost of products and goods. Now, recognize that many of the products and goods in our practices are also products that are used in human healthcare.
Mm.
And so we're competing for inventory and pricing that you would pay for at the Mayo Clinic in veterinary hospitals. Bag of fluids. I mean, hey, doc, how much did it used to cost for a liter of LRS and how much does it cost now?
Mm.
So there's a multitude of expenses that went up. And the reflection on that was how do we remain profitable and sustainable as a business?
Yeah.
And to be profitable and sustainable as a business, you either have to see more people at a lower price, which is inefficient, or see the same number of people at a slightly higher price to make up for the expenses that we're paying.
Right.
So I think what we're seeing, and we're seeing it not just in veterinary medicine, is just an escalating in everything. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going backwards from that
Right.
standpoint. I just don't think, I'm waiting for somebody to roll back their prices.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. I mean, to your point, I think the inflation rate post 2020 actually doubled compared to what it was prior
Oh,
to
interesting.
2020. So, and I think that's like economy wide. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, what that does to a veterinary profession is, I mean, it has like exponential ramifications. And I hadn't even thought about us competing with, you know, human medical facilities for the same inventory, and that inventory being even, you know, lower supply than it ever had been in past history. So
Mhm.
that's, yeah, good explanation.
It was the imperfect storm.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the ramifications that you're talking about, Dr. Heather?
Oh yeah, good. I mean, I was talking specifically about like the products, you know, the inventory supplies that veterinary clinics were competing with pretty much on a global scale with every other. I mean, I remember towards the beginning of the pandemic when you couldn't even get isopropyl alcohol. You know,
Gloves.
you were on like a 6-week wait list from your medical distributor for rubbing alcohol, Charlotte. I mean, if you can imagine
Yeah.
trying to like ration those supplies out,
Right.
and then obviously like the cost of things, it's going to skyrocket to the veterinary hospital
Right.
who has to purchase that stuff. And then you have to reflect that in your invoices to the client, unfortunately, or you go out of business.
The cost of goods didn't even occur to me whatsoever. So that's fascinating. That makes perfect sense.
So,
Um,
Charlotte, what many people don't understand is that the average veterinary hospital has a profitability that's around 10%,
Wow.
which is lower than you can get if you invest in the stock market.
Yeah.
But not only that, you have a business that you own that has people who are dependent upon you for a job, a career, health insurance. You have clients that are dependent upon you. And so most veterinary practices, again, that's an average number. That's from people who praise veterinary hospitals. Half the veterinary practices are 10% profitability.
Wow.
And so just trying to maintain that with the escalating costs of people and goods has been reflected in the cost of care. And I think the sequelae to all of that is general affordability. And it's not just in veterinary medicine, but it's general affordability for everything. Look at the
Right.
cost of a car.
I know. I know.
Everything.
I've been
And I mean,
shopping for a new car recently, and yes, it's crazy town.
yeah, with the cost of gasoline skyrocketing like it did, I mean, every single product being shipped into, like in our case, California, is reflecting that increased cost.
Yeah.
And some products were back ordered indefinitely. Many of the controlled substances were back ordered if you were doing a remodel, trying to get cages and cabinets and everything. So it's been a very challenging time for veterinarians, and I would agree that it's been a challenging time for pet owners as well,
Hmm.
um, because unfortunately they're seeing costs that they never see when they go to their own doctor.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. Absolutely. Yep.
Hmm.
What about a lot of people contribute some of the rising costs to kind of the private equity taking over a lot of the veterinary hospitals. What's your take on that?
I'm all about capitalism.
Okay.
Sometimes capitalism gets out of control.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between a private practice whose focus is on stakeholders and a private equity whose focus is on stockholders.
I see.
And so in my practice, I worried about my clients, their pets, my staff, my doctors. But when you add an extra layer of
Yeah.
investors who want to get a return in a quick fashion and then flip it so they can get their return,
Hmm.
we start to see extra layers of costs that are then reflected back to those practices that are then reflected to clients to help maintain those profitabilities. Now, many of the private equity hospitals that were purchased were more profitable to begin with.
Hmm.
And then so to try to keep that level up required um, increasing costs as well. And again, it's a very competitive marketplace, especially where we are in Los Angeles, where there's
Yeah.
a veterinary hospital every 50 feet. Um, so I think it's probably more prevalent in the urban suburban areas where the
Hmm.
private equity hospitals dominate.
Hmm.
And I think that I think you're probably seeing an even higher response to the um, inflationary environment at the private equity standpoint to just try to keep their profitability where it is. So I can't blame any one variable. There are so many
Right.
external and internal variables that impact the profitability of any business, let
Right.
alone a veterinary business. I mean, you go to a restaurant now
Yep.
and they embed so many different fees. Um, Remember when tipping was 15%?
Yep.
And now you can't even get one of those automated tipping things that doesn't start like at 20 and go to 25 and then
Hmm.
to 30%. You can't even give a 15% tip anymore.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Dr. Heather, how many tips have you
Hmm.
gotten in your career?
Not monetary tips,
Yeah.
Yep.
I low, so high.
right?
Yeah.
I know. Do you think so I'm assuming that when private equity comes in and acquires a practice, let's say the practice has a margin at about 10%, like you were saying. I mean, are they trying to then turn it into 15 to 20, or what's the goal there?
Well, if I'm a buyer and I don't want to go in and try to fix things, I buy it at 20% and try to keep it there, or using economies of scale and competitive sharing of services like accounting and marketing and everything else. I'm going to try to make 20% into 25%. Very few of private equity companies purchase average and try to make it better. They purchase above average and try to make it even better from that
Hmm.
standpoint. It's too much work to fix something that's average. It's much easier to try not to break something that's already working.
Right.
Sure. And do you find that there's a difference in the veterinary companies that have been acquired by private equity groups versus those that are owned by conglomerates, such as like Mars owning VCA
That's
Antec
a
and,
great
and such?
question.
Well, Mars is just its own private equity, but it's even private equity
Mm,
because nobody actually knows the data because it's privately held. So
okay.
what we have with the companies, the larger aggregators that are out there, is we have data that's a little bit more obvious, especially if they are sharing it with their stockholders from that standpoint. So I don't think that there's a difference because they still want the same thing. They want the greatest return on their investment. They want the same thing that they have in their portfolio of animal hospitals and labs and food as you and I want in our stock portfolio from that standpoint. The difference is they're owning a healthcare provider and trying to manage a healthcare provider to be profitable. And we've seen the impact on private equity in senior housing. We've seen it in pharmacy. We've seen it in optometry. We've seen it in human healthcare. Veterinary medicine is just another one of the investments that private equity has gotten into. Now, here's something, Charlotte, and Heather, you may be privy to this, but if you remember 2020 to 2022, everybody's practice was really reaping because everybody was busy.
Yeah.
People were home, their pets were home, and the government was giving us money. So many practices grew at 20, 25, 30% per year, year over year, on revenue side, maybe a little bit on the profit side. That was when many hospitals were purchased at a very high premium to the private equity people because they saw a golden goose.
Yeah.
Now, what have we seen statistically in veterinary hospitals over the last 2 to 3 years? A normalization. We're back to a slower pace, a much more reasonable pace. So when you buy high and things normalize, you got to work even harder to keep them profitable. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think some of that is what you're seeing as well.
Yeah. So what is happening in those clinics that were acquired during that time and now there's a normalization? I mean,
There's more pressure on the staff.
morale.
And,
Yeah.
there's a
I
lot
was
of pressure
thinking
on the
that,
staff and the doctors to perform.
Yeah.
Oy. Not a
And
pretty picture.
no, and of course, as a pet owner, Charlotte, you know, you're a consumer of veterinary services. Your expectations are very high, as are many of your listeners.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult because I would also say, and Dr. Heather, you've probably seen this in practice, consumers have become even more demanding as costs have gone up. You know, if you buy a Mercedes, you have a higher expectation than if you buy the 1968 Volkswagen Beetle. So
Yes.
this is the, again, all of these moving parts that people don't always take into consideration when you read the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times about cost of care. There's a lot of things that are going on, but I think the one thing that hasn't been lost in the veterinary profession is empathy and compassion. I think we still have a love for what we do and for the clients and the pets that we take care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I'm wondering if you could comment on maybe your take on Chewy acquiring Modern Animal and what you foresee happening there.
Deep breath. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Chewy purchased 29 hospitals and some significant databases. I think Chewy's business model is about having as many people as they can on their platform. And when you invest in veterinary hospitals, you invest in people, basically clients, who will get onto their platform. I think there's a much higher margin selling a tchotchke than necessary performing veterinary care. So if I can get Charlotte to get her monthly Chewy box, oh, and by the way, come in and get your vaccinations, I have now created a subscriber who's also used to paying for Netflix and the gym membership and Amazon Prime and everything else. So I will be intrigued to see whether, and by the way, I have tremendous respect for Modern Animal. We're good friends with a lot of the people with Modern.
Yeah.
And I just hope that their culture and their model does not get impacted by investors who are seeking maybe a different direction.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I could foresee as a veterinarian, you know, practicing at Modern Animal, you start on with this company that was the founder said, I'm not an animal lover. I'm a people lover, and I am starting this company to support the veterinarians, and I want a better place for vets to practice.
No.
So if you come into a practice like that has that groundwork laid, and then, the landscape really gets flipped on you potentially. I'm kind of fearful for them too.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to watch.
Hmm.
I think Chewy is one of those companies that the veterinarians have to keep an eye on to see what impact they will have on practices
Yeah.
that ultimately may impact the cost of care to clients as well. Because
Yeah.
again, life was a lot simpler before there were so many external variables impacting virtually every industry,
Yeah.
regulatory as well. But now we're in a very complex world. AI, when I was in school, AI was artificial insemination. Now it's a whole different world.
Right.
Right, Heather?
That's right. That's right.
What is that?
Talk about AI with
Expand on that.
bulldogs. That was pretty
Yeah.
much it before
Oh,
all of this.
interesting.
Oh, you went to
Interesting.
bulldogs. I went to cows. So
Right. Sure. I'm small animal,
it's okay. The gloves go a lot longer, a lot higher up with cows.
Oh, now I'm getting it. I'm a little delayed on that one.
You didn't know we were going off on a
I
tangent
didn't.
today, did you?
I really didn't know. But now I got it. Okay, I like it. All right, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the pet parent, because I think as pet parents, when we get a dog, we think about, your basics. We think about the toys, we think about the food, we think about, our checkups. But the costs of caring for a dog, and any animal, but caring for a dog really exceed just those basics. And where do you think the disconnect is in that? Like,
I think way too many pet owners adopt or purchase on impulse.
Yeah.
Without doing the necessary research.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Heather, how many clients have actually come into you and said, I'm thinking of buying a French bulldog?
I knew
Can
you
you
were going
give
to
me
say
an
that.
idea of what to expect over the next 15 years?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I wish people would actually ask that. No one does. They just come in, they get the Frenchie and then realize sometimes, unfortunately, that there are a lot of medical issues that ensue.
Mm-hmm.
And even with mixed breeds, okay, I've got my dog Bruce is on the ground right now. Normally he's in my lap during these things. And Bruce is a rescue dog from Tijuana.
Yeah.
He is half French bulldog, half pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a dwarf pit bull. He actually has a nose. But he also got the medical issues that come from both. He has had both cruciates cut.
Mm-hmm.
He has atopy, allergies. And so Bruce is not just a stuffed animal who gets fed and loved. Bruce comes with medical costs. And we, as veterinarians, don't always have the opportunity to coach a pet owner about what to expect over the lifetime of their pet. We can predict the first year of wellness, or maybe a year and a half. That includes vaccinations, flea, tick, heartworm, internal parasites, microchip, spay, neuter, etc.
Yeah.
But then we don't know which dogs are going to eat the pantyhose,
Right.
which cats are going to eat the tinsel,
Right.
and which dogs are going to fall out of the back of the truck,
Right.
which all comes with the cost.
Yeah.
I'm the Pet Care Credit, which you've all heard about, did a study, came out in 2025. They had done a previous one that talks about the lifetime of care for dogs and cats. And there's a huge disconnect between what consumers think they're going to spend
Yeah.
and what they actually spend.
Yeah.
So the actual spend for dogs over a 15-year period, thereabouts, which is the average life expectancy of a dog when you average short and long, is about $60,000. Now that includes everything, including boarding, grooming, doggy daycare, and all of the toys and veterinary services. I would like to suggest that about a third of that is veterinary care. So over 15 years, the pet owner will spend about $20,000. Some of it, most of it will be in the first 2 years.
I laugh at
Most
that
of it,
because my dog was. Yeah, Dr. Heather, you can confirm that my dog was far more expensive than that over his years. And he was also an impulse. He was an impulse adoption. But yeah, but I don't have human children, and so everything he was my whole heart. So everything possible I could give him, I did. But yeah,
right.
$20,000 seems very slim.
Well, it does, and especially in Los Angeles. But
Yeah.
remember, we're looking at a national average. National
Yes.
average of
Yes.
$20,000 includes the entire economy of the country, and
Right.
about 15,000 for a cat.
Yeah.
And so, if you came in and met with Dr. Heather and said, "I'm going to get a dog," and let's just call it a mixed breed, what do you think I should budget for the next 15 years?
Mm-hmm.
Heather would be responsible to tell you that it would be about $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
If it's less, you celebrate. If
Yeah.
it's more, at least you have been forewarned, because you don't know what accidents, what emergencies, which toxins. For some reason, dogs will not take a pill when you give it to them, but if you drop your pills on the ground, they will eat them.
Yes.
And the rattlesnake that comes down the hill and puts itself in your living room through the slider that is now open, you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I just had a client who got bit by a rattlesnake, and that was a very pricey 2 days. Yeah.
yeah, and so
Oh, yeah.
the best resources for information about cost of care is not your breeder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the shelter.
Right.
It's the person named Heather who's sitting next to you on the screen
Right.
from that standpoint.
Yes. And you're right, Peter. I would, if people asked me that, I would say I would budget around 50 to 60,000 for the lifetime of a dog or cat. I mean,
Interesting.
and I would also, I always try to really promote getting insurance
Well, I was
for the
gonna ask,
animal.
how do
And
you feel about
before they
insurance?
take them to the vet, get the insurance. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Every practice, every veterinary practice should advocate for pet health insurance. To get pet health insurance the same day that the dog walks into your car or into your house.
Yeah.
Because there is a waiting period, usually about 2 weeks before coverage, but you now have it.
Yeah.
Now, like homeowners insurance, like auto insurance, you hope you never need it,
Right.
but you will. And so
Okay.
I think there's something that has to be clarified, and that is that pet health insurance is not health insurance. It's
Yeah.
property insurance.
Oh,
And
interesting.
most pet owners don't understand that. So if there's a pre-existing condition, basically if your car has a problem, they're not going to cover it under warranty.
Right.
Well, the insurance, if your dog has a problem, they're not going to cover it under the insurance. They may be a waiting period or things of that nature. So there's some very good insurance companies out there. Do your research. Ask your veterinarians for whomever they think are the best policies that are out there. And recognize that it is a plan to have when things go wrong.
Yeah.
You should not be making it. You don't make money on insurance. You have it
Right.
for when things go wrong. Snake bite, toxin, pantyhose, tinsel, etc.
I
Cancer.
Right. Yeah. How many times people would bring puppies in, and on that first exam, you diagnose a heart murmur, and then they don't. Then you ask the question, "Do you have insurance?" And it usually is, "No, I didn't get it yet." And you're like, "Well, now there's a pre-existing."
Yeah.
So it's just so unfortunate. I wish more people would know that, to just get the insurance the day you get that puppy, or the day you know you're getting that puppy, and so then it is, you've already gone through the waiting period before you take the dog into the vet clinic. Do you see veterinary, the landscape of veterinary pet insurance changing at all to become more like human insurance? I get that question a lot. I mean, we are not like we're like a reimbursement model currently, and you foresee it staying that way, right, Peter? I mean,
As long as pets are property, yes.
mhm.
And so I I have to give credit to the Southern California Veterinary Medical Association because it was in their offices that the American pet health insurance industry started about 40 years ago. Dr. Jack Stevens and Don Mahan were some of the visionaries in the start of pet health insurance. It is not a perfect model. It is still morphing. And part of the difference in the United States is that we don't have socialized medicine. The uptake of pet health insurance in the UK, Canada, Australia, the Scandinavian countries is much higher because of the way insurance is viewed there through socialized medicine, and the fact that in some of these countries, veterinarians can actually sell policies. We cannot sell policies. We can only recommend companies from that standpoint. I actually worked in the pet health insurance industry for 2 years running the claims department. So I learned a lot about the program. And I would suggest that as long as we have pets as property, the insurance policies are unlikely to go into the human health care realm where people tell us what we can or cannot do. Now, here's another issue that's been interesting is you will see premiums going up because
Yep.
of the cost of care going up and the insurance companies having to pay for it. Premiums go up as a result. So we've seen this especially in the UK. The UK, which is about 25%, I believe, insured, pet insured. We're about 3%.
That's so fascinating.
But
Wow.
so
I thought we would be more than that.
yeah.
I have a lot of clients who are still very resistant to pet insurance. And I personally would not have been able to give Chance the care that I was able to give him for those 17 years if I didn't have it. And I got it when I adopted him. And no one really, that wasn't really a thing then. But I was like, I know this is not going to. But it also, I feel like, makes your job as a veterinarian a little bit easier because you're able to give the quality of care that you want to give without the burden of having to talk about cost, right? Because you guys want to give the gold standard of care. You want to do everything that you can to help your clients,
Right.
and then cost becomes a factor of whether you can do that.
I love your dog's name.
Chance.
Yes.
We both
Now-
took a chance on each other way back when in 2009. Yeah.
As long as your second dog isn't Second Chance.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God. No. I never thought about that. No, it will not.
you're absolutely correct, though, Charlotte. I mean, I joked, and I think I was actually quoted in the LA Times at one point that I think veterinarians would accept socialized veterinary medicine if we could get paid a fair and equitable salary and we could provide all the care that was needed for Chance without having to negotiate with the pet owners as to what services and care. None of us like to put pets to sleep because people can't afford to provide the care.
Right.
And very many of us, and I know Heather and I have done this, have compromised, discounted, or zero charged clients who we felt tremendous empathy for just to be able to give their pet a chance. I mean, Heather, you probably have memories continuously of these cases coming through your door that you'll do anything you can to help.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, pet relinquishment to the clinic too.
Yeah.
And, a vet or a vet tech is going to, continue the care for that animal. Just anything to avoid having to euthanize because of financial restraints. Yeah.
Yeah, so Charlotte, it's interesting you were talking, and Heather, you were talking about getting pet health insurance. One of the things I actually advocate is to get both pet health insurance and apply for a high care credit limit because it doesn't cost you anything to have that backup finance there for when the fecal material hits the oscillator.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
That's a good one. I might steal that from you, Peter.
It's not copywritten, so you can
Doctor
use it.
Talk. What was I going to say?
You lost control.
For those people, yes, for those people who don't know, not everybody knows that Care Credit exists. A lot of people don't know that there are resources out there that can help them. So, what is Care Credit?
Care Credit is a pet-specific credit line.
Yeah.
Although it's not really pet-specific because I've used it for dental care and other things as well. It is a health care credit card.
Okay.
And depending upon how the practice you work with uses it, you can get 12 months of interest-free care. So in other words, if you as the consumer, Charlotte, pays it out over 12 months interest free. The
Right.
hospital gets paid,
Hmm.
and they get um, they pay a premium to be able to accept that program, but it allows you to provide care, and it allows you to pay it out over time, and not at the relatively high credit card um, rates that are there.
Yeah.
So care credit is an option. There are other companies out there as well that provide um, alternatives to help pet owners deal with the costs of care. And I would strongly suggest that every veterinary hospital have multiple payment options for pet owners who
Yeah.
come in and are surprised, to give them a choice and a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Hey, well, so along those lines, if someone comes into the veterinary office and well, you kind of answered this, but and they receive like an estimate and they can't afford that, like what happens next?
Well, in a well-managed practice like Dr. Heather's,
Yeah.
they will find a quiet room
Yeah.
and they'll talk to the pet owner about options. They'll talk to them about care credit. They'll talk to
Hmm.
them about other payment plans. I don't know if any of your clients have used any of the online um, opportunities to GoFundMe type things from that
Mm-hmm.
standpoint.
Okay. Hmm.
Um,
I don't know.
it is interesting when it comes down to it, because of the human animal bond and the relationship that pets have with people.
Yeah.
They will commonly find a way to at least get a deposit going so that you can find out what's going on,
Yeah.
because it's really painful to make a decision without information. And
Yeah.
so if I as a veterinarian could say, Charlotte, let me do one test. It's going to cost you $175 to
Hmm.
find out what's going on, and then we can make the next decision from that standpoint. I
Yeah.
think we're seeing more and more of that because of the affordability issues, is that we're starting to take and make options for pet owners to get started in diagnosis and ultimately treatment at a more affordable level, to deal with the challenges of affordability that we're dealing with right now. And so sometimes we have to take the elephant and eat it one bite at a time instead of trying to eat the entire elephant. Probably not a good veterinary metaphor, but it's too bad.
I was just at the zoo this morning, Peter.
Were you? Were you? Yes, Dr. Heather, you were.
But
You
no
do
elephants. Not because
volunteer
they
at
were
the zoo.
eaten.
Yeah.
Which
But
zoo were you
yes,
at?
to your point. Oh, LA Zoo.
Oh, okay.
I do
My
some
wife's a zookeeper.
acupuncture and rehab for their animals. Yeah.
Oh, okay. My wife's a
Yeah.
zookeeper in Orange County.
Oh, that's great. How
Oh,
cool.
that is.
Yeah.
To your point, Peter, I think this is why in veterinary medicine, you know, starting a year or two ago, there have been a lot more tracks at veterinary conferences specifically dealing with spectrum of care. There is standard of care and there's gold
Mm,
standards, right? That we are
mm,
meant to practice by. And that's how we're taught in vet school. And that's like, the Cadillac plan. If you can have in a perfect world, you can lay out all of your diagnostics and get the perfect treatment protocol together and do it. It's great. But in the real world, I think that, seldom happens. And I think it's a shift from, well, if you can't do it this way and if you can't afford this, then I can't do anything for you. There's a shift away from that because there's almost always something that you can do at lower
mm.
cost. There's usually a stepwise plan that you can go through to at least get a little bit closer to your answer, or to at least, try to mitigate some symptoms that the pet is experiencing. So I think there is a real push in veterinary medicine on, we're realizing as a profession that it's not perfect. And, you know, because the medical model is set up differently and the insurance model is set up differently than human medicine, we have to operate a little bit differently as well to
Mm.
meet the needs of our patients and our clients.
When you name something, you actually have to focus on it. So we provided alternatives for a generation or more. It just didn't have a name. Now it's called spectrum of care. In the UK, it's called contextualized care. And really, it is taking a look at on a case-by-case basis, and depending upon the context, setting up a diagnostic and or treatment plan. Now, we deal with standards of care as well, as Dr. Heather noted, because we are held to a state board and a practice act that defines a standard within a community that we have to adhere to as well. And so the balancing act has made veterinary medicine even more complex as we balance a standard of care that clients hold us to from a medical standpoint and a spectrum of care that clients hold us to from a financial standpoint. And the question is, well, why didn't you offer me the lower price to begin with? Right? Do you ever get that one?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's really about that balancing act and to try to look at a client and say, Charlotte, I'm going to provide for you what I think is optimal for your pet today, but there are things that we can do that might not be quite as expensive if you want to have that conversation. This is an art form now. There's an art and a science to this conversation that maybe we didn't have to do before, and that we should all be teaching our staff members, and we should be teaching the next generation of veterinarians, because I don't think it's going away.
Right. No, I don't think it's I don't think it's going away either. I think we're seeing like the disparity between classes getting a little bit, broader and broader. So it's definitely that. I think that's the trend.
Yeah, there's the gap between the haves and have-nots has become wider, not just in veterinary care, by the way. That's a global issue in the current economy. The middle class is shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
But again and again, even through recessions and inflation getting steeper and steeper, it seems again and again you see that the sectors of the economy that remain the steadier ones are the ones where people are using their discretionary spending on their pets, which is really interesting. I mean, that's it seems to be a core value.
It's a testament to the bond.
Many people.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember who said that basically how people treat their pets tells you about the culture of a people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a quote to that effect somewhere. The other interesting
I think
thing
that was a past president. Yeah.
It could have been. We are also seeing fewer human babies and more fur babies.
Yep.
As Gen Y and Gen Z, especially the younger Gen Ys, have decided that it is much less expensive to put a dog through college than it is to put a kid through college. So the human-animal bond allows Dr. Heather to do what she does, and it allowed me to do what I do.
Yeah.
And that's all about the relationship, because I'm betting, Charlotte, that your dog slept on the bed and you slept on the floor.
Yeah, well, if he had wanted to, he has since passed. But if I actually really wanted him to sleep on the bed, but he wasn't interested.
Really?
he only if he wasn't feeling good, then he would climb up but he actually liked his own big, very expensive bed that I bought him next to my bed.
I wish I could convince Bruce to do that, because at 38 pounds, he's either sleeping on top of me or sleeping on top of my wife, or he acts as a wall between the two of us. And it's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
I know. We have to all buy bigger beds just for our pets.
Yeah. Oh,
The human bed has to get bigger.
They have those. I think they do.
There's the king, there's the California king, and there's the canine king.
Right?
That is our next business venture. Have you? Can we patent that? Canine king.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be an
here.
investor. Just don't sell that to private equity.
Okay. All right. Well, this question is for both of you. Is there anything that in the future of veterinary medicine that makes you feel optimistic?
Everything. Everything. We have no shortage of people who want to be veterinarians.
Great.
We have no shortage of people who want to have pets.
Yeah.
I'm very optimistic about the veterinary profession. I'm seeing a lot of young doctors who want to open their own hospitals, but do it differently. Not the way I did it, not necessarily the way Dr. Heather did it, but create different business models. I mean, what Noah did as the first veterinarian and James Herriot did as a second veterinarian doesn't
Yeah.
mean that the third veterinarian has to do. And
Yeah.
so I think we're going to see all sorts of different business models that meets the needs of consumers head
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And so like the Marriott has 35 different segments of hotels, we
Yeah.
could have 35 different segments of veterinary care, some of which are affordable
Yeah.
and some of which are solely focused on those people who want a Ritz-Carlton-like experience. So
Right.
I'm really optimistic about where we can go, and I think it's important that people like Heather and myself continue to be cheerleaders for the profession because we are feeling pressures,
Yeah.
or else we wouldn't be on this right now, would we?
Yeah.
That's right. I love that, Peter.
Yeah.
And I love being a cheerleader for this profession. And I also love the idea of new vets coming in and doing things differently and creating different business models, because I think younger generations, I think, have a potentially better grasp on what is quality of life and mental health and wellness
Yeah. Absolutely.
than maybe our generations do. And so I am very optimistic for that, for the health of the veterinarians and the health of the profession. And I think veterinarians and pet owners are getting more interested in, in general wellness and longevity type things for their animals, which allows veterinarians to play a more proactive role in health and wellness, and maybe not as much sickness care, more wellness and preventive care. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm very optimistic as well.
I'm so optimistic that I had a daughter who's a veterinarian.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. Yes, I
So
read that. Yeah.
yeah, so my youngest is 3 years out of school and doing wonderfully as a veterinarian
That's so
in
great.
the LA area. So I'm contributing to the future of the profession as much as I can.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your contributions.
One at a time. We know it just takes one at a time. It'll be slow, but it'll
Yeah.
I
right.
wish I could say my daughter's going to follow my footsteps like you, Peter, but I don't think she will. But I think that more and more people are going into veterinary medicine, and we're going to have more spaces filled with good people.
Okay, my closing question for both of you, actually, Dr. Heather, because I don't think that I've asked you this question before.
Oh.
You are both dog lovers. You both have dogs. What is the most enduring thing that you've learned from your dog?
Oh my gosh. That's a tough one, Charlotte.
It can be anything. It doesn't have to be deep. It can be.
I think dogs are better than us.
Yeah.
I
there
wish
he
I
is.
could.
Hi.
Oh,
Hello,
there's
sir.
yours.
Hello, sir.
That's
I don't
Bruce.
know. I think mine's
Bruce.
up guarding the front door right now.
Yeah.
She can't be bothered.
Yeah, she's really busy.
But yes, she's very busy. But I think we can learn so much from our animals. I think they are natural barometers of like energy. I think they can really sense things in others. And they're just masters in body language, and I think people would do well if we could adopt more characteristics of
Of our dogs.
theirs,
Yeah.
honestly.
Absolutely.
You know, I've never met a bad dog.
Yeah. No, me neither. Me neither.
I've met
I
some
would
people
agree.
that I don't care for.
Yeah.
Shh.
We won't
They
tell.
sign this. They pay your bills.
Yeah.
I would
Dr.
agree,
Weinstein?
and I would agree, and I think, one of the things that are great about pets is they don't have a memory.
Yeah.
So, you can get angry at them. They'll come up and lick your face
Mm-hmm.
and continue to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are great listeners,
Mm-hmm.
which is better than some significant others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about you, Sharon, okay? But
Hey, uh-oh, you might be in
I'm
hot
going
water.
to cut this part
I'm
out
in-
and send it to her.
I'm in deep feces. But so I think that they're also great exercise tools. I don't
Yeah.
think I think we could address human obesity by exercising our pets more. Maybe we should
Yep.
have a mandate of prescribing pets over pills. Could
Oh,
we
I like
replace
that idea.
Ozempic with a dog with a golden retriever? Um, so I think there's a lot we can learn
Yeah.
from them, but the most important one is the unconditional love
Yeah.
and the fact that they are there for you no matter how bad a good or good a mood you are in.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
They
thank
are.
you
They're our
to
best friends for a reason.
they
Yeah.
are our best friends for a reason. Well, thank you so much for the two of you. This has been very informative, and I so appreciate you joining me today.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thanks
Thanks for
so
the
much, Peter, for joining us.
My pleasure, Heather and Charlotte. I hope you got some new thoughts and new ideas about the profession. Maybe a couple of things you hadn't thought
Yeah.
about. And the same goes for your listeners. I mean, I think it's very easy to get upset and angry these days because of
Yes.
all of the different uncertainty that we're in. But you know what? What's certain is that your pet is there and your vet is there, and that we're here for the two of you.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so
Well
much.
said.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd love it if you'd follow the show, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who loves dogs. You can find links to everything we talked about today in the show notes, and I'd love to connect with you on Instagram at BaruPup. If you have a story you'd like to share, you can email me at charlotte@thebaru.com. Thanks for listening to The Baru, and let's chat soon.